Welcome to Rich Talk, where we keep the conversation going.
The host of this episode,
Shayler.
Steve.
Delilah.
Welcome back, Rich Fam. Episode 9 of Rich Talk. We got Steve and Delilah here today. And I'm going to interview them, so it's going to be a little bit different of an episode. So let's just get right into it. How are y'all doing today first? Good. Good. Nervous.
Cold.
Okay.
I don't like the snow.
Yeah, we got a big snowstorm.
Yeah,
so.
but it's good. I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Okay. I'm probably gonna try and warm you all up a little bit. So bear with me. So today we're talking about creating and maintaining healthy relationships, and then a little bit later we're gonna get into preserving family traditions and creating new ones. So I think before we can even start, if you all can just give me and give our viewers a little bit of background about your culture and how that incorporates into who you are.
You want to start?
I think we should start.
Okay. So I'm Nigerian, so that's a lot, man. I don't even know where to start with that. Nigerian culture is heavy. It's heavily based on family, and like moral values and how you interact with the society around you. So that extremely shaped me. But the caveat to that is that I was born in Nigeria and then I moved to America when I was 6. So it wasn't a huge Nigerian community around me. So I had like a very tight community of aunties and uncles that I kind of grew myself around. So I think that kind of made me very, very family oriented and very just kind of ambitious as a person, because that's also another side of it. So that's what I would say. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that's in there too.
That's one thing I would definitely say about most of the Nigerian people that I know or that I'm in circles with. Very ambitious, very driven, and very like excellent. Like, this is the standard and we're going to be
high
this.
Standards. And high standards.
Yeah. How about you, Delilah?
So I was born in Guinea-Bissau, but I left when I was 2, and that's when I went to Portugal. And I grew up there until I was 15. I can't say that I was very close to my culture because my mom was a single mother, so she wasn't really around as much to cultivate anything, into like us. I did have the aunties and stuff, but I think it wasn't anything that not like the Nigerians where it's very much like this is how we like family, this and that. So when I was 15, I moved to the UK, and it was like another just cultural shock. And it was a little bit again of like the aunties, because obviously as an immigrant you're part of the community, you kind of connect with the other immigrants in the area. So but I left home when I was 18, and I think for me it's just been like wherever I go I just kind of get a little bit of everything. And I think most of my friends have been Nigerian, so I always liked their family values, because I think that's something that I lacked when I was growing up. So I always really looked up to the way they value family. But yeah, I don't want to say like I'm uncultured, but I just I kind of just, wherever I've been, I kind of just picked up a little bit of everything.
I would say you're cultureful because of that, because you can adapt to a lot of cultures, and you've taken in a lot of cultures. But
Cultureful is a beautiful word. That needs to be added to the dictionary. Cultureful, that needs to be added to the dictionary. So you talk about the heavy family values. How do you all bring that into your relationship? You don't have to go too deep, but how has that impacted what you're looking for and and how you go about cultivating what you're looking for?
I think for me, it shows up accidentally sometimes, like because family is such a huge value in my life and in the life of the people around me. It kind of allows my family to kind of insert into our relationship, either through me or directly. So I think one of the major ones is like we, off the bat, I think maybe a few months after we started like officially dating,
How
talked
long
about.
has it been first though?
It was 5 years.
Okay, so they're in it. Like,
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Oh, that was a little bit of an interval there.
Yeah, a little interlude somewhere in there. But I think really early on we talked about like our expectations for like what our family would look like, how we want to operate. We talk a lot. I mean, we talk deep all the time. Like 100% of our conversations are just really deep.
Delilah's a very deep thinker, and it's never anything surface level. She writes for Rich Mac. Make sure y'all go read some of her articles, but she's a great thinker. Like, so, yeah. I mean, Steve is too, but like,
I mean, not as much, I guess. But I try to keep up. So, no, we talk about, like, we'll talk about traditions today, but we talk about our expectations for like maintaining traditions of the past, making our own traditions. We talk about kids. We talk about discipline for kids. We talk about what kind of trauma we're gonna pass along and stuff like that. So I think the contrast between the way we were both brought up allows us to kind of meet at a table and discuss them very deeply and openly, because there's such a gap in what we were brought up in. It's important to know, well, what side are we gonna fall on, or are we gonna make something in the middle or whatever. So
I think it's definitely been challenging, especially for me, because I think we were having this conversation like a month ago. Like, I think Steve, and being in a Nigerian culture is like very structured, very like I think, remember what I was telling you, it's like you were in a bubble and the people around you were like supporting you as you are in that bubble, and it's like very straightforward. And I think for me it was like I never had a bubble, so I was just kind of just picking and choosing, and then that brings us to this place where it's like he's here and I'm here, but I think that kind of allows us to like come to the middle.
I think you all both said the same thing in different ways, and I think that's dynamic, and I think that it strengthens like your relationship because you're both pulling from different places. So that's definitely a strength.
I think like the best part for me is like we're able to look. We have to, in order for this to work, we have to look at it realistically, and now we get to pull from the best parts of each culture and say this is what works for us, and we're gonna pull from it.
Realistically, like that's the thing, like, and I think that needs to be a tone in a lot more people's relationships, is not fantasizing what you want love to look like or what you expect love to look like, but actually sitting in it and like building with what you have. Because stepping outside of reality and just living in this fantasy is not going to get you to the fairy tale that most people think. It takes a lot of work. Like,
it's challenging. I think when it comes to traditions, we kind of had a lot of arguments about that because, like I said, for me, I'm just kind of used to just doing whatever I want to do, whereas Steve is very much, it's about the family. Like, you need to talk to your parents, you need to get their insight into things, and because I don't have a close relationship with my family, or there's not like a strong family unit, I'm just used to just doing whatever I want. And like we talked about, like, for example, naming kids. And how Nigerians have a culture, and I'm like, but I don't have one, so why do we have to do that? But it's always good because at least, so far we've been able to come to the middle, be like, okay, you don't have this, I have this, how can we make it work for both of us?
Would you say in a sense that he kind of grounds you?
Yes, absolutely,
And I think,
I think I challenge him to kind of step outside.
Expand, because Steve can be meticulous at times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, think
think outside the box sometimes.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the first there's been so many moments. So many moments where it's like she said, like I grew up in a bubble. It was a structure that works for that bubble. It's good for one because it allows you to start from somewhere that's already been built upon for generations.
Right.
But it also is a bubble. It's limiting, right? So
Right.
if you want to expand from the bubble, you need to pop the bubble, right? And there's been so many bubble popping moments, Delilah, where I just like, God dang, bro, like, oh my God, now I have to like restructure my brain, and it's tough. It sounds like nice, and oh my God, I'm popping the bubble, I'm expanding my, but yo, when your bubble pops, it can be kind of traumatic.
Because essentially that bubble's what's holding you up, so you have to fall.
You have to fall.
Yeah, you have to fall.
And you
like,
fall.
You're falling like into the unknown, and Delilah's like, but this and this and this, and it's just like, oh, okay.
And you know what? The craziest thing is I'll be falling, and I'll talk to Delilah about it, and she'll be very relaxed, and it's like. And she'll be like, "We're all falling," kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like it would just be like
we
she's
were never
calm
not
with
falling.
it. We were never. You were just in a bubble, so you didn't know, like that kind of thing. And I'd just be like, "Dang, like, yeah." But it's amazing, man.
That's good.
It's amazing.
That's really good. And then as far as like now, like, I mean, you've been here since you were 6, and you've been in the States since how long?
Well, I lived here for like a year and a half-ish.
Okay.
5 years ago.
Okay.
And now I've been here for like 6 months. But it's been like sort of like a back and forth.
Back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so how do you all feel that blackness intersects with your personal heritage and in your relationship and how you cultivate?
For me, I think the blackness part of it is kind of, especially from Delilah, it's kind of like it feels like a us against the world type thing. So one thing that we do a lot is that we travel, and I always remember this experience when we went to Italy. Man, Italy is something, man. Like the people there are, I think they don't see a lot of either black travelers or a lot of the
black people in general.
just black people, right? They so you get a lot of stares, and they don't look very nice. Like they don't look warm or welcoming. So a lot of times it felt like it was just kind of us against the world. But I love it, man. I don't know.
You love it?
I love that for us anyway.
What about here? Like, do you feel like what differentiates your relationship from like a traditional black relationship? Or what values do you feel like are similar, if there is any?
I don't know, because I think for me I don't have a clear idea of what a black relationship is, because I don't think I've been able to see that like reflect, because like I said, my mom was a single mother. My dad has had like multiple women, has multiple children, so. And even within my community, my aunties, most of them are single mothers. So I think it's just been like creating our own version of what we want our relationship to be like. And I think being here has been good because, like you said, in Italy, there wasn't that many black people. And that's the general feeling in Europe. I always say, people are like, yeah, but there's a lot of black people in the UK. And I'm like, black people in the UK are literally less than 1% of the population. And black people in America is like 14%. And I know, like, when I first came here, I was like, there's so many black people. So it's easier because, you know, you don't have the stares as much. You are able to just be yourself, where I think when you are in like a white space or predominantly white space, you have to kind of cater or make sure that you're still, you know, operating within whatever is allowed or whatever, you know, it's the norm. But being here, and I think that's what is, I don't want to say great because I don't think this country is great, but that's what is great about America, because I think you guys here have the opportunity to be yourselves and explore and present different things, and you're not as judged as perhaps you would be.
We need to save that portion of this clip where Delilah said that's what's great about America.
Yeah, because if you read her articles, like that is very far and few in between. Like,
Please,
but
context.
Yeah, definitely context because but I think you made a great point as far as like comparing existing and becoming in America versus Europe. Steve, I'd like you to do the same thing as far as America versus Nigeria. How do you think the differences would be cultivating your relationship here versus there?
Oof. I think like it kind of goes along the Nigerian culture thing. Like Nigerians are, I don't even know if I can even say that. Nigerians are about family, so there's like an expectation for relationships, right? You just expected to get married. Where I think here there's not as much of an expectation of marriage, of a relationship, of building a family and stuff like that. So I think here you're a little more free to find your own time and stuff like that. Where in Nigeria it's not as much. But also there is also the stigma of older Nigerian men and like cheating. That's like really rampant in Nigeria. Kind of abuse of the family. So it's kind of like you're expected to get married, but then there's also an expectation that after you get married, you're not really faithful to the marriage. And that's not general for everybody. Like I think I'm very lucky and blessed to say that my parents are a unit. Like they are. If I tell my dad something, my mom knows it already. And it's that kind of thing. And anything my dad feels, my mom like reflects it, echoes it. Anything my mom feels, my dad echoes it. So I grew up thinking everyone else was like that. So I think going to school or to college was a culture shock for me because I heard a lot of stories about a lot of different type of family units, more abusive families and stuff like that. So I grew up just with the expectation that I was gonna grow that type of family. So I think once you start seeing what else family can be like after growing up like that, it makes me value my kind of family more. So I try to put the respect on family as much as I can because now I know that it's not a given. So
that's important. But that's a great segue into preserving family traditions and creating new ones. Like, how do you all manage that balance?
We're managing, I think, ongoing. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
I mean, I'm all for, creating our own. That's what I believe in because I don't think everything works for everybody, So I really, and because like you guys said, like I'm very inquisitive and I'm very a deep thinker. So traditions for me is like, okay, but why? Where did it come from? And with Nigerians, it's like this is what it is. Like it's not questioned. Right. And there's been situations where it's like you have to do this. And I'm like, why? Right. And I think I'm trying to find a balance though because I also want to be respective, because it's your culture, and sometimes there's certain things that's like you don't have to question. But I'm very big on still just being able to have my own space to create my own traditions, to create things that work for me and for us. So
yeah, and I think after like a lot of the conversations and dialogue that we have around what we're gonna keep from either one of our traditions, mostly from Nigerian tradition, because obviously we're not as close to Portuguese or Guinea-Bissau tradition, versus creating our own. It allows me kind of to have like my eyes are a little more open to other possibilities. So I think it's good to be able to take what has been done and adapt it to your own, your own life, your own space. So it's ongoing, man. It's
Yeah.
ongoing. I think I started with the belief that like there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, and I think I started with the idea that if you try to create a new tradition for every single thing, you're just gonna be expending a lot of thought, a lot of time wasting on creating stuff that a lot of lives before you have already gone through and created.
Right.
But like Delilah said, everything doesn't work for everyone, and we're in a completely new world now. I mean, we got stuff that people never dreamt of before, so everything's always changing anyway. So
And I feel like we should keep up.
you have to keep up.
Yeah. So just being open to the flow and allowing yourself to step into breaking the mold. Like, if you outgrow the mold, like it's okay to build a new mold and create new traditions. But definitely hang on to the things that matter most to you and the things that sustain the family principles that keep you going and keep you grounded and keep you connected to the people that came before you, the people that created you, and I guess these are things that you can also inevitably pass down to the people that you create. Yeah. Well, that's it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Make sure you watch the ones before and the ones after for more Rich Talk.
Thank you for listening to Rich Talk. Make sure you subscribe to our website at richmagdigital.com and follow us on all platforms.